This table saw has a safety stop that throws an aluminum block into the blade if it detects anything that conducts electricity, like a finger. The table saw should only be used on non-conductive materials to prevent the safety stop from activating. New blades and brakes are about $120. Do not use wood charred by the laser cutter, carbon fiber, treated lumber, lumber with nails, foam with foil, or other conductive materials. Test your material by touching it to the blade and seeing if the red light below illuminates. Push sticks are used to prevent hands from getting dangerously close to a spinning blade. Here are two types. The first is designed to push your material through. You should push it until your material is all the way off the table. The second type is used to hold your material down while pushing it through. Narrow cuts should not be made if you cannot fit the push stick between the guard and the fence. Like this. You're unable to fit it through. Feather boards can also be used to hold material securely against the fence. This is an example of a feather board. This will be up against your piece, help you push it through. The blade for this table saw has two adjustments. The first is height. You adjust the height with the wheel on the front of the saw. You want to adjust the height until the blade is just above your workpiece. The second adjustment is angle. This wheel on the right is how you adjust your angle. Right now we have set this blade to about 35 degrees. Be aware that when you change the angle of the blade, its reach to the left or right has now increased. Check to make sure the new position of the blade will not interfere with the miter gauge, fence, push sticks, or hands. It is usually best to angle the blade away from the fence so that push sticks along this side can still be used. The two biggest dangers in using a table saw are getting cut with the blade and kickback. Kickback occurs when the material you are cutting gets misaligned, catches on the rear of the blade, and is lifted or thrown at you. Like this. The guard, right here, helps with both cuts and kickback. The plastic cover protects you from the spinning blade. The spreader behind the blade keeps the material from pinching behind the blade, and the anti-kickback pawls stop the material from being thrown at you. Never remove the blade guard while using the saw. If you need to change blades or do a blind cut, one that does not go through the material, please ask the lab administrator for help. Position your body so that you are not in direct line with the blade, so that if something is thrown back at you, it will not directly hit you. One way you can avoid kickback is by proper cutting methods that prevent the material from getting misaligned. Never cut freehand. Use the miter gauge or fence. When making a rip cut, which is a cut with the wood grain, the miter gauge should be removed and the wood should be supported on its long side by the fence. When making a cross cut, which is a cut across the wood grain, the fence should be removed out of the way and the wood should be supported on its long side with a miter gauge. Like this right here. Never use the miter gauge and the fence together, as binding can occur. Wait until the blade has completely stopped spinning to remove the wood, and never stack material to be cut. Do one piece at a time. The only time two people should be required is when moving large sheets of material onto the saw. Do not have anyone pull the material through from the back of the saw. If the material gets kicked back, they could be pulled into the machine. Instead, use roller stands or an outfeed table to support the cut material.